Right now, a ministry is dependent upon a certain level of ownership in order to exist. And therefore, we're collapsing ourselves around survival. And if we can kind of step into a greater understanding that what if we just can create the ministry practice that that people want to give into. It's just that we haven't figured that out. We haven't kind of discovered a way to describe what we can create that everyone wants to go all in on. And so that's sort of what the effort is. How can we describe a ministry practice and a way of engagement that people really value and want more of, that translates into their seeing the results of their effort manifest right before their eyes and in their life. And so our focus now is less about, like when it comes to our membership process, we don't teach it, that there's no classes required, only experiences that are required. And so we aren't giving people information, we want them to have experiences. And so those kinds of shifts are shifts that are making a difference. And those aren't the shifts that came naturally to me. I had to discover that less is more. I had to discover that there's a different way to motivate people to be in ownership than through requirements. We have dropped the word requirement. We don't use that anymore because there's too many allergies to that word. We use qualifications. Are you qualified? Do you want to be qualified? Oh yeah, I want to be qualified. What do I need to do to be qualified? That's a different conversation than, oh, this is required? Why do I have to do that?
And Gary, what are those experiences? Those qualifications?
Well, there's a number of them. The Q process is the primary one for the governing member role. This is the only one for the governing member role, really, that we enforce. We're pretty lenient when it comes to getting people to kind of engage. We want to make what we want to do is we want the journey from community member to governing member to take time. So there's no application and then that goes before the board, or they take a class and then they get to be a member. It doesn't work like that. They have to say yes to 3 things and then have to do that for a year. The 3 things that they say yes to is some form of meaningful involvement. And so that's an experience we want them to have. We want them to be involved in some form of service, either in the church or outside of the church. It doesn't matter to us. We have 80 people in our church of 200 that are volunteer full-time in other organizations outside of us. So it doesn't matter. And then the second thing that we want them to say yes to, the experience that we want them to have, is to deepen their spiritual practice. And we tell them how that can happen. It can happen through spirit groups or through the classes and activities that we have. To have an experience. And then we ask them to track that. When it comes down to where they're going to apply for a governing member, they just tell us all the stuff that they've done. they tell us about all the experiences that they've had. They don't tell us what they know or what their consciousness is. They just tell us the experiences that they have, and they tell us what we can count on with respect to their financial support. And we tell them what it takes if everyone was doing an equal share. If there's 200 people doing an equal share, it would cost $118 a month per person. If you can do that, great. If you can't, just tell us what we can count on. And that's everyone says yes to those things. I mean, we have people who don't turn in their application, but you have people that come and go anyway. But when a person joins the church, then they say yes to those 3 things. And then after the year, then they are automatically mailed the application for a governing member. And the application basically has them list all the stuff that they've participated in over the year, and that they've done the Q process, and that we've verified that they fulfilled their automatic contribution from their community member application. And then the orientation is done by the board of trustees. So they our governing members come to our board meeting, and the board orients them. And the board, the orientation is giving them an opportunity to talk about their experience, their transformative journey in the church. And then it's an opportunity for our board to talk about the effort and the partnership between the governing members and the leadership. And that partnership gets created in that orientation. And they're explained in a deeper way about the finances and what it means to really make this organization viable and sustainable, and where we are in our effort. And they're invited to do what they can